Welcome, webinar listeners. Thanks for joining us in another Shop Talk. This is session 28, where we are talking to Amir Mizrachi and Eldad Erez from OnSight, just to get to know their story and how they got to know Matterport and how they made their company what it is today. So thanks very much for joining in. I see we've got a good number of attendees joining, so go ahead and do your thing, get your speaker set up and audio and whatnot, so you can hear us, and we'll just go ahead and get going. We don't have a presentation or anything like that set up. It's just going to be the three of us talking and hopefully inspiring you and kind of showing you how an MSP, somebody like Amir and Eldad, were able to make this really inspiring business called OnSight. So. With that said, Amir, Eldad, thank you very, very much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, too. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
All right. So I just wanted to get started with where you are today before we take a step back. So OnSight, when did OnSight get started? When did you guys found the company?
Yeah, okay. So first of all, thank you very much, Amir and Jermaine, for hosting us today. Hello, everyone. So OnSight was established 3 years ago. The basic of OnSight is based on Matterport technology. Today we use Matterport technology as well as laser scanning technology. We do combine both services using the laser scanning instruments together with the Matterport cameras. We try to combine both tools together. That's where we are now. Later on, I will dive more deeply on what we were in the past, how did we reach Matterport, and how do we use it today for our services.
Sounds great. And how big would you say OnSight is in terms of number of employees today, the coverage that you have across your location? You guys are located in Israel.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm Amir, the CTO of OnSight. Eldad on the other window is the CEO of OnSight. So we both established OnSight, as I said, in 2018. Today we employ 9 employees. Half of them work in the field, the others work in the office. As I said earlier today, we operate in the field both the Matterport camera and the laser scanning technology. In the office, we operate. We do some work with the Matterport workshop. We do edit Matterport tools in the office. We try to use the Matterport SDK and combine with other services. And the other stuff we do in the office today with our people is creating 2D plans and 3D models using our point clouds generated also from the Matterport and also from the laser scanners.
Great. So let's take a step back. I want to kind of touch on how you discovered Matterport, where that came from, and how you went about kind of figuring out what you want to do with Matterport. So let's go with how did you even discover Matterport in 2018?
I will take the 10 to 15 minutes to go over my background, the company background, and I will tell you exactly how did we start the services that we give today. So I will start with my background. I graduated in computer science and I worked for 5 years in the cybersecurity domain in Israel. On 2018, I retired from the company I worked for and looked for a solution to. I had an opportunity to purchase an asset in Greece. I looked for a solution to virtually visit this remote asset. I was thinking, me and myself, how can I have a good view of this asset without having to travel a long distance? So after a short investigation, I came across Matterport. I talked with many people in Israel until I found Matterport. I have no clue that this solution already exists. So this is how I tackled the solution of Matterport. OnSight, on its early stages, tried to leverage Matterport's technology for real estate agents. But very soon we realized that in a small country of Israel, we can hardly develop in that aspect. At that time, we contacted a big surveying and mapping firm in the country and presented the ability to take measurements and create 2D plans using Matterport's point cloud. So this was the big shock for us, which in a retrospective vision completely changed our goals. So we started from giving these services for real estate agents, and very fast we realized that our goals are going to more to the AC industry. So from that time on, we researched over different deliverables that can be achieved using point clouds and become very involved today in the AC industry. I'd like to show some examples of our tools. So if this is the correct time, or should I?
Yeah, no, this is perfect. Yeah, by all means. So basically, while you get that set up, you can go ahead and share your screen. So you started with kind of real estate, but realized that in your location, that's not the most profitable, not the direction that you wanted to take OnSight's. And so you went with AEC, basically architecture, engineering, and construction. Okay, let's check this out.
So you can see the model, right?
Yeah, I can see that screen.
So as you can see in my screen, it's a 3D model of a big tunnel in Israel, an underground tunnel in a hospital, under a hospital in Israel. It's a 3.5 kilometers of a tunnel. We scanned about 500 scan locations in this specific tunnel. I will dive into the tunnel. The main purpose of this capturing was two reasons. One, to generate the point cloud. We did this capture using also Matterport technology and laser scanning. So one reason was to create a digital twin of this underground tunnel using the point cloud. The other reason was to enable the end client to have a clear access to the tunnel, to be able to add annotation tags, to identify each element in the tunnel, to plan each and every changes that are about to be made in this specific tunnel. And there were a lot of changes occurred in this tunnel from the day that we scanned. It's about 2 years ago. So this was our first, I think it was our first project using Matterport Pro 2 camera. And this was a big one, so a huge one. It took us in the field about 5 days working.
So it took 5 days of coming back to the tunnels and continue scanning every day, more scan positions, adding on to what was previously captured.
Yeah, exactly. We used the April tags for the registration. As you can see, yeah, we might see in the walls sometime here the April tags.
Yeah, this is a challenging environment because of the repeating architecture for sure.
Although there are a lot of objects like the AC units and all the pipings and the boxes, but still we use the April tags. So this was our first challenging and the biggest project that we did in Israel at that time.
This is an impressive project, especially for the first one, right? How did you, with pretty much no experience under your belt scanning with Matterport, how do you land a job like this? I mean, is this connections that you previously had, or did you just run into this situation?
Okay, that brings me to the other side of OnSight. OnSight established, as I said, 3 years ago, and very soon as we established OnSight, we were contacted with a big firm in Israel, surveying and mapping firm in Israel. They call the APINCAS. They do all kinds of surveys, from drones to terrestrial surveys to underground surveys. And this is how we received this specific project. It's a huge one, a huge client, specific hospital in Israel do a lot of projects with us today. So we do a lot of projects coming to us from this specific surveying company. And this is how we work today. We have our own project that we bring to the office, and we receive a lot of projects from this specific company. Continue to what I said earlier, we try to figure out how Matterport products can be leveraged in buildings and construction sites. And we talked with many contractors and project managers throughout the 2.5 or 3 years. These specific meetings led us to the understanding that 360 documentation of a construction project in its different phases has a lot of impact. And more specifically, the contractors that we contacted with suggested us to take Matterport high-resolution imagery to document buildings during the handover. So this is the main topic for us today. In Israel, there is a phase, I guess, that in all over the world, and specifically in the US, it's the handover protocol that the contractor or the entrepreneur hand over the building to the building committee or to the specific persons. And this came to us, this niche from several different project managers in Israel. And this is good for them for two main reasons. First one is for them to make the internal QA/QC of the construction site or the apartment or the public areas for the company itself, for the contractor, for the entrepreneurs, for the project managers, to have a documentation of the site for themselves. The second one, and the more important for us today, is the insurance that this documentation gives the contractor against future claims of tenants. For instance, take for instance a broken tile or a missing pipe in a public area that tenant can claim, but contractor has a full documentation from the handover day. And this is how we come across. We reach the site on the day that the handover takes place. We document the site while both the project managers or the contractors notice us, as well as the building committee. And about 2 or 3 days later, they receive from us the 3D model, the whole space, after our internal QA, QC, and all the challenges that I will explain in the next few minutes. We managed to identify one of the most painful issues contractor suffers from the projects in the site, and we enabled him a potential saving of tens of thousands of dollars by documenting the site while they hand over the public areas and the apartments to the tenants. Our documentation has already proven itself in previous cases that we have captured and we're already handed over. Today we have several contacts with the biggest contractors and construction firms in Israel. Our documentation is part of the handover pipeline, as I said before, and all these companies operate us on almost each and every building they hand over today. We have a contract with about 7 to 8 big firms in Israel. Almost all of the biggest firms in Israel today work with us. We typically reach the site at the handover day, as I said before, so that both project managers and building committee can notice us in the site. I'll take the 1 minute to explain the complex of this capturing multi-floor buildings, because the process of capturing multi-floor buildings is very, very complicated. Specifically in the beginning of our services, we had to learn how this process can be improved. By the way, you can know that the main challenge of capturing such spaces is what you call in Matterport pancaking.
Right, merging. When two floors merge together.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. Before we go there, I'm just looking at the chat as you're talking, and there's a lot of questions regarding this particular space that's still on your screen. Have you calculated the square footage or the number of square meters that this specific model is? How big is this?
Say again the question.
Have you guys calculated how how many square meters this particular model is, the tunnels under the hospital models?
Yeah, it's about 3.5 kilometers, running kilometers, not a square meter.
So the linear meters is about 3 kilometers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's not the complete tunnel. They have a lot of more sidewalks to the tunnels. So,
and that's right. That's not 3 kilometers straight from one end to the other, because I did notice that there's a couple. If you look at the dollhouse view, there's it's like a T-O. It goes even further back there.
Yeah, 1 second, please. Yeah.
If you look at the floor plan view, you can see how massive this is. This would be I would say, a challenging model, not only to scan but to display. Right. I mean, this is AEC purposes. So we're not promoting. So there's not as much concern with every different low end computer trying to manage this, because I imagine this will be difficult to get through. So this is more for measuring and kind of understanding what's going on here before anybody comes in and does any kind of construction work.
Yeah, we also separated this model. You see now the entire model, but we also separated in the field the model into 5 pieces. And then in the office, together with Matterport support, we had to combine all pieces to a single model. Yeah,
it's a very time-consuming process for sure. So I definitely want to look at the other model that you were saying, and get to kind of better understand that use case and how that's being used.
So what you see here, you can see my screen on with this floor plan, right?
Yeah.
So what we did here is capturing with Matterport I think it's about 15 or 14 different buildings in a complex building in Israel. Each building is about 10 to 12 floors. We organized all the buildings into one nice floor plan to give the client some nice view of the site and ability to access each space separately.
This is like a simple way for them to navigate into different models. They can see the entire campus, I guess, if you will, of different buildings. And this is one of many buildings.
Yeah, so here we have, it's in Hebrew. So we will have 9 floors and 2 minus floors. So it's about 12 or 13 floors overall in the building. So as I said, the challenges in scanning and capturing this kind of buildings is if the building has multiple staircases. Once we have multiple staircases, we need to be very to pay attention to different details in the site. We need to work bottom up. We need to begin our scanning from the minus floors till the highest floor. Basically, we divide such buildings into some pieces. In most cases, we divide it this specific building, it's 9 floors or 13 floors if you take the underground floors. So we divide it into 2 pieces. And then with the ability of Matterport services or support, we combine and stitch the 2 different spaces into one piece. So that's the main challenge that we tackled in these specific buildings. This one specifically has only single staircase, as you see here. I will try to open a different model. I think this one has more than 1 staircase, but I'm not sure. This one is very similar to the previous one. I think, no, it has only 1 staircase. So it's a little bit easier. I can show you later on another sample of 2 staircases. This specific model contains also the parking lots underneath the building. And you can see the matter tags taking the client to each and every apartment in this building. If I hit the matter pack.
So not only do you have the building from the inside, but you also went in and scanned all the different apartments as well?
Yeah, correct.
Wow.
So in this specific building, we have, I don't recall the exact number of apartments, but it has about above 20 apartments that we scanned, and that they are all connected to each and every building.
And from the apartment, can you go back into the building?
Yeah, okay. I wanted to say that unfortunately no, but yeah.
I see. You got the link there.
Yeah, so you can go back.
And you've provided a lot of exterior scans as well, looks like, and the highlight reel. Those are 360 views.
Yeah. We generally have the client requests us in each building like that. But we also have a 360 capturing of the ceiling, of the top roof, and the surrounding area. So we need to take the camera because of the sun limitations and other stuff. We need to generate the 360 views on the roof and around the building. So yeah, this is the highlight reel below.
Okay. And what you're saying is basically these companies that are hiring you to do this need this documentation as a kind of insurance in a way. So this is proof of the current state of this building from every different angle. Before they hand the keys over, after having built it, they pass the building on to whoever bought it, the real estate company, and so that they can come back a year down the road and say, this huge scratch down the hallway is how it was when it was built, and you need to fix this. This company, the builder, can then look at this documentation and say, no. Actually, somebody moving in a piano into their apartment, for example, actually caused that scratch, not us. When we gave it to you, it was tip-top.
Correct. That is exactly the case, and we already received many feedbacks from our clients that they use the 360 captures against those tenants. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How long does it take to capture a building this size? So this, you're saying it's got the 3 parking floors down below. You said something like 9 levels with apartments, maybe a lobby in there. So we're looking at 12, 13 floors total. How long does something like this take?
So in most cases, we capture only the public areas, not the apartment themselves.
Okay.
So only parking, only a public area like the lobbies and the staircases and the ground. It's about, for a building of about 10 floors, it's 3 to 4 hours, not a full day. For building like 18 to 20 floors, it's 1.5 days to 2 days of work in the field. But later on, for the huge buildings, the main issue comes to the office to stitch those buildings.
Mm-hmm. And that's because pretty much like you said, you're capturing the public areas. They're pretty open. There's not a whole lot of furniture. It's not like you're doing, a warehouse full of racks and shelving and stuff laying around that you have to work your way around. It's pretty much straight down the hallway and then back again, up a floor and repeat.
Yeah. The only delays can be due to workers in the site or people that moving in the site, and Matterport camera sometimes warns us.
So let's talk a little bit. I'm seeing a lot of questions coming up regarding the price that you charge. I don't know if that's something that you want to get into specifics, but when you started, this being something very new, right? I mean, most of the people using Matterport around you were doing real estate, and you went and took it into this AEC industry and kind of got into this niche within AEC that's really more of an insurance use case in a way. How do you know what to charge for something like this? Is the industry some kind of indicator, or was it by the square foot? How did you start with that?
It is some sort of a negotiation with each contractor. So we managed to understand today the exact pricing that all the contractors in Israel can get our services. We usually price per not per square meters, but per single floor. So if there are 10 to 12 floors, the pricing is per floor.
Mm-hmm. Does that depend? Because I know some buildings, a floor on one building is going to be 2-3 times as big as the floor on a different building. Does that make a difference? Is that part of the negotiation?
Yeah, so we generally visit the site before giving the quote.
Sure.
We go to the site, scan with our eyes. We try to manage to calculate the number of scan locations that are needed for each floor. And this is how we price per floor, per project.
Got it. So you've worked out roughly how long it's going to take per scan position. You know what needs to be done, and you estimate how many scan positions on a given floor, multiply that by the number of floors, and you have a pretty good idea of how long it's going to take and what you should charge.
Yeah. Because most of the companies we work today with are they're having some template of their building, so we can guess the number of scan locations on each floor, how big is the floor. So in many cases today, we do not need to reach the site before scanning. We know the exact square meters or number of scan stations on each floor, so we can prevent the site visit before starting to work. Okay,
awesome. Let's go ahead and continue.
Well, I can show another model with about 18 to 20 floors, but it's a double staircase. I think the audience are already.
I think these are massive buildings. These structures are absolutely huge, far beyond what. I would say the average, Matterport model is your pretty typical home, 2,000 to 3,000 square feet. So these things are pretty insane.
Yeah. So I can say that we had one project in the country that we had to capture a building of 42 floors. Each floor, it's a huge one. It's a triangular floor.
Yeah.
It's about 40 scan locations per each floor, and we didn't have the capacity or we didn't manage to capture the entire building in a one shot. We had to split the building into 3 to 4 sections and make the linking between those sections. Also, the Matterport engine, I think, as I understood, could not combine or stitch all those multiple floors, 42 floors. So yeah, we also have this kind of projects, but this one we had only 2 of this kind, and these were very challenging for us. But typically, what you saw until now, these are the typical buildings that we scan today in Israel.
But you could say, so with that project that's 42 floors, which is incredible. You said it had to remain. You weren't able to stitch it into a single model. It remained as, several pieces for the same building. Wouldn't that be very similar to what you showed earlier, where you had an image of the entire campus? You could really do the same, right? I mean, in terms of the use case for this, it doesn't really matter whether it's in 3 pieces or just one big piece. It's really the same thing as the large campus with multiple structures, as long as they can access images and all the data that they need one way or another. I would assume that's okay.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I can tell that as a growing company today, the company seeks today differentiation in its day-to-day project. So we decided also to purchase, as I said earlier, terrestrial 3D laser scanners for BIM purposes. I can tell that we work today with the RTC 360 and the BLK 360 of Leica. As you mostly know, the BLK 360 today integrates with the Matterport, so we do integrate both tools together today, but we mostly work with the RTC 360. As a technology company, we always look for interesting integration between different products. So today we also do some research on how to perfectly integrate data received from the Matterport Pro 2 camera and the laser scanners that we operate today. We try to combine both data sets together to bring some entire solution with the Matterport high-resolution images and the 3D laser scanners, high-resolution point clouds. So it's still under investigation and some research in our office.
So you're trying to not only provide these as like a visual kind of, like we said, insurance purposes use case for the builder, but also maybe provide the builder with, or maybe not even the builder, but one of, the client, either the builder or facility management, who could also use something like this with a sort of dashboard to better extract the data from the digital twin. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so in addition to that, I can say that today we implement also Matterport platform into the rescue and firefighting services in Israel, and we work together with them, with their R&D department, for developing new technology based on Matterport framework for different use cases. Mm-hmm. We already started some experiments with the rescue and firefighting services in Israel. Specifically today, we had some Zoom session with them. And same as we do today with these services, with the firefighting services, we invite you all to contact us and have a mutual knowledge sharing and collaboration. We do search for improving ourselves and give services and to hear what you guys do also. We try to develop many things on top of Matterport platform, which we do today. We do use today the Matterport SDK. By the way, we try to investigate today how the Matterport virtual tour is composed of. We try to understand how can we automatically stage or identify the errors or the pancaking that I told earlier. We try to automatically identify these errors and to hint and give some feedback to Matterport support to have the ability to fix those errors more frequently, more precisely. Once our person go over the virtual tour, it's very, very difficult sometimes to find all those pancaking errors and all those specific points or scan locations that crashing down. Yeah, it's a very time-consuming process. If there's a way of automating it in any way, that certainly helps. And So what is the best way? So if attendees are listening in and they're kind of interested in getting in or are already in the AEC industry or insurance and see this as something that could potentially be interested, either to partner as scanners outside of Israel in your location. I'm sure that you're looking to grow and partner with the technicians, scan technicians outside. But also, as you mentioned, if they have some kind of insight to data information that you can help develop to help them with their goals, as well as you with the fire department that you're helping out. And I want to touch that a little bit more. But also something like this, how facility management can use this. What's a good way for them to reach out to you? What's the best way?
I guess by email. I'm sorry that our website is not up to date today. The English version of the website is not up to date. Also the Hebrew one, but we're working on that.
Is the contact information on the website up to date?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. What's the URL for your website?
OnSight.tech, TECH, technology.
.tech. Okay, fantastic. Yeah. So OnSight.tech. If you are interested in reaching out to Amir and Eldad about potentially partnering and exchanging information, so keep that in mind. The firefighters and that department, how are you working with them? How did that relationship come to be, basically?
If I recall correctly, they approached us about 2 years ago. We had a meeting in their offices. So we presented them the Matterport ability for two main reasons that they look for. One is for training. They want to train their people using virtual tools. They want to capture the space and train their firefighters to how to rescue people from buildings, to understand all the fire tools in the building. This is one case. The second case is to document buildings after a fire case, burning fires. So this might be a little bit difficult in some cases due to lighting conditions and other stuff, or sun that can prevent Matterport from working correctly in these spaces. But we work together with them for these two main use cases.
Nice, very good. So training, so these types of buildings where they may have to go up a lot of stairs, they use scans similar to this for their own personal training purposes.
Yeah, today they're using our scanned spaces that I presented today and much more. We scanned about more than hundreds of spaces in Israel, huge buildings. So they use some of these buildings today for training. And they work today with their Pro 2 camera. They purchased one camera and they operate it by themselves. Yes, but they do work a lot of training with our buildings today.
Got it. And they're using OnSight as a sort of consultant.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. Was there anything else that you wanted to show? Should we? I did see a question kind of zip through here before we get into the full questions and answers in a minute. How many scan positions is a building like this, like what we're looking at?
It's about, excluding the underground part, the parking part, it's about 200 to 250 scan locations. Okay,
that's reasonable. I would have expected more.
Yeah. Each floor with the floor staircase consumes to about 15 to 20 scan locations per each floor, with the stairs upstairs.
Including the stairs?
Yeah, including the stairs.
Can you go into one of the floors just so we can have a look at it?
I will take a more general one. I will take this one.
Okay.
So we can count now together, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Got it.
And if I get back to the staircase.
And you go back to the staircase.
Yeah. 10, 11, 12, let's say. 14, 15, 16. It's about 20.
Yeah, 20 per floor, including the stairs.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Okay. So we've got about 15 minutes left. These scans are just really impressive. I love looking at them, and I can completely understand how this would be of a lot of use for a company, especially looking to insure the asset they just built. So. Okay.
Yeah, I can say also that we're still trying today to always proceed and on enhancing our deliverables to improve the service. We try to collect more feedback from our clients to understand why they need more for us to implement in these specific tools. As you can see here today, we only implement the matter tags. Sometimes we put other data that received from the client. We try to understand today what else the client needs from us to drag into the 3D model.
Okay, great. Perfect. So what I wanted to do, thank you both very much for sharing that with us. I found it really fascinating. I really like these models and the use case and your ability to very methodically go from, okay, here's this Matterport tech. How can we make a business around this? And not only did you figure out that real estate wasn't the right path for you, which is obviously fine and great, and I love that you found this niche, but also went and took it a step further. Now you're integrating laser scanners, like you said, right? We did have a question from Ronald asking which laser scanner you use that connects with Matterport. In this case, which laser? It's a Leica, right? But it's not the BLK.
Yeah, the BLK 360 and the RTC 360.
Oh, you are using the BLK 360?
Yeah.
Okay, so the BLK 360 as a laser scanner to connect when you are using the Matterport platform, but you also took your business beyond Matterport to provide point clouds for BIM, right? So that's basically building information management or modeling, something like that.
Yeah.
Modeling, and so you really just need the point cloud. That's recreating a building, a structure that exists. You scan it with a laser scanner, you get this point cloud, and then you can take that into AutoCAD and with a lot of work, get a 3D model in AutoCAD out of that, as the building is today. So you're kind of creating blueprints if blueprints don't exist.
Yeah, in the past 2 years, so we basically mastered in the point cloud. We do a lot of things with point cloud today. We try also to generate some meshes using the point cloud data and capturing in the site some 2D images. We're trying to take this to many different cases, some of which are tunnels. Yeah, so these are the goals that we aim today to go to.
Cool. Michael actually asked a really good question. We kind of touched on this a little bit, the ability to use these models for more than just their intended use case, the reason why you initially got hired, for as an insurance document, but also for facility management. Michael asked, do you ID the mechanicals for the use by maintenance crews in the future? So facility management teams can use a model like this to get a lot more information, if that information is tagged in the model. Is that something that is that a service that you provide?
Yeah, so that's a great question, because we did recently started recently a new project using Matterport and using the 3D scanners, capturing underground stations. There is currently being built in Israel an underground station that you have all over the world, but in Israel it's partly new now. So there are 10 underground stations that we captured using Matterport and using the 3D laser scanners. And the 3D and the Matterport model is used by the company that received the management, operation and management of these specific stations. So they do use this model for tagging, for annotating, for having a full site view from their office for facility management for the 16 years ahead. So we do use this technology also for facility management and not only for insurance. This pretty much new for us.
So as far as usability and whether facility management teams find this sort of tech, this way of documenting information about the mechanicals, the mechanics and different systems within the building, air conditioning units, embedding PDF documents, manuals and whatnot in the model. Do you have any kind of information about whether they find that useful in this format?
Unfortunately, it's pretty new for us, the facility management with using the Matterport. So I still have some more info regarding this.
I also saw a question about the number of scan techs you have going around the building. This is traditionally scanned right now. The only way to do it with Matterport is one person, one iPad or iPhone, and one camera. Is that true? Is that the case? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And we also, let's see here, we have another question. So Glenn asks, how do we obtain a point cloud file of a structure over 50,000 square feet? It's a good size place. The point cloud, you can get it by ordering the Matter Pack, regardless of how big the model is. So that's one way.
Usually today we use the point cloud from the 3D laser scanners.
Okay.
We use less the point cloud from the Matterport because of the density, specifically from the density of the point cloud. We do a lot of work with we need the high density point cloud to see MEP, all the mechanical, electrical, plumbings. So we mainly use today the point clouds from the terrestrial laser scanners.
Okay. So when a client requests the point cloud, is the client getting the point cloud, or is that something that you basically get for yourself? And then from that, use AutoCAD to create whatever that is that the client actually needs?
The client also receives the point cloud from us.
Okay. The client also is interested in the point cloud itself.
Yeah.
Got it. So most of the time when a client comes to you in AEC industry and they're looking for a point cloud, you're not getting the Matter Pack and the Matterport point cloud. You use your Leica scanner to generate a higher density point cloud.
Yeah.
Okay.
In each project we do today, we always offer to the client both the service of the laser scanning for generating the 2D CAD or 3D models, and also the capturing with the Matterport for the client to have a good view of the building. So we always present to the client both services, the advantages of each service.
Good. So we also had another question here that I just wanted to throw out there, because there's a lot of importance. Well, maybe not that much in this industry, but certainly in real estate, about having a really nice, clean dollhouse. Do you find that maintaining a clean dollhouse is important? Is that something that's not as important? Most of your clients generally are just looking at the data and don't care how clean or not clean the dollhouse is?
Yeah, they generally look at the data. Yeah, we do try to have a clean mesh or dollhouse. The client basically needs just to see the 360 images and nothing more.
So in this use case, a clean dollhouse is not nearly as important as a promote use case like with residential real estate.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Rob asks, could this model have been accomplished in one complete tour? I'm not sure, Rob, if you're referring to this model that we're seeing right now on the screen. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Amir and Eldad, this was done in one tour? This was done one complete scan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We take it as a thumb rule that about up to 12 or 13 floors, we take it as a one tour.
Mm-hmm. And just to mitigate the risk of, like you said, the pancaking or the merging of floors, that's why you break it up into multiple models?
Yeah.
Okay. And just so everybody knows that, so yes, there's that risk of having those merged floors, especially, these models are a classic example of having that merged floors because the staircases and with any, tall building like this, fire escape style staircases, they're identical. They're absolutely identical from one floor to the next. There's very, very little that differentiates between them. And what we've found, and we've worked a lot together during these scan processes, is scan density makes a huge difference. Number one way of preventing pancaking or merging floors in this type of model structure, this building structure, is increasing the number of scans in the staircases. In the hallways, that's one thing, but in the staircases, absolutely critical. You want to have it every 3 steps. If you start skipping and doing much more than that, you could end up with a merged floor. And it's one of those issues that you can't really see as you're scanning. You can't tell that it just happened because across the XY axes and what you kind of see as far as placement in capture, it looks correct. It just dropped it by 3 meters to the floor below. And that's when you get that pancaking and merged floor issue. This building that you're showing right now has that double staircase that you were saying before. And this is a very, very complicated scan in technique. What did you find was the best way to approach a building like this as far as scanning both staircases?
Yeah, we had some methodology that we developed in-house. First of all, to scan bottom up, to begin from the lowest floor to the highest one. I need to show you on the specific floor how we do approach such multiple staircases. But basically, we go over the lobby. We do go up on a single staircase, go down to the other staircase. As you can see here, let me check it on a different floor. No, that's not a good one.
So when you say go up and then down, you're talking about a single path of aligned scan positions. You haven't broken the path yet, right? You go up one and then down another?
Yeah. So basically, I go up on this staircase. Once I reach the second floor, I open a new floor on the iPad. Mm-hmm. I go down. I get back to the first floor. Begin to scan the lobby or the public space. Reach to the second staircase. Go up to the second staircase and stops on the last stair. Because I already opened the new floor from the other staircase. So I cannot open a new floor here as I open the new floor in this area. So basically we found it as the best approach to scan these kind of spaces. Sometimes we do use the April tags also in these multiple floors or multiple staircases, sorry. But yeah, that's the basic of our scanning methodology.
Very good. So up one staircase, create a new floor when you get to the top, and then you go back down the staircase that's right there, without breaking the path of alignment. You're going down the stairs.
Yeah.
Then when you get basically back to the floor that you started on, but at a different side, the opposite side of the building.
Yeah.
Did you say that you change back to lower level?
Yeah.
So you go back to the lower level in Capture, scan that entire floor back around to the beginning, kind of where you started, essentially.
Correct.
Got it. So you do like this up, down, and then all the way around. And then what? Then you pick up the camera at that point, go a floor up and do the whole thing over again?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So that's where you break the path of alignment, is once you've made you made the complete circle all the way back to where you started, then you pick up the camera and go up a floor and then just do the whole thing over again.
Yeah, that's the basic process. Yeah.
Very good. Let's see here. We had a question from John, said, April tags do not fully hide, in my experience. I'm not sure, John, what you mean by fully hide. Yes, if you're going to use April tags, there's no way of hiding them or making them go away in terms of the visual. You're going to be able to see them. And I think in this use case, it doesn't really matter because, like we said, it's not for promoting the building. It's more for, as an insurance document.
Yeah.
So be mindful if you are going to use April tags. You'll still you're not hiding them. There's no way of erasing that from what the camera saw. Camera's just using it as a registration and a way of kind of more easily aligning between one scan and another. Okay. Oh, Bob asked, what hardware, like iPad, what iPad or iPhone? I'm not sure which one of those you're using. I know some iPhones today are very strong and can definitely be used in place of an iPad. What iPad are you using?
Wow. Let me check. I think it's the iPad Pro, definitely.
iPad Pro. Okay.
The iPad Pro, 11 point something inch. I don't recall the exact size. Yeah, but the iPad Pro.
Okay.
We're not working with the iPhones at all in these specific spaces.
Got it. Yeah. So the problem is actually with an iPad Pro, they're phenomenal devices, very, very strong, and can do quite a bit. It's definitely always going to be easier. These floors aren't that big. Like you said, there's only 20 scan positions on each floor. So you're not looking at, when you are breaking the path of alignment, or if you do so unintentionally, because you're just taking a little too much space between scan positions, the Capture isn't able to find alignment with the previous scan, and that's when it starts looking at everything on the floor. In this case, we're not talking about a manufacturing plant that has 50,000, 70,000 square feet on a single floor. It's really just 20 scan positions. So you wouldn't really need even that strong of an iPad. I'm not saying you shouldn't get it. You should definitely always get the strongest iPad that you can afford. But it's not so in this particular case with these buildings that we're looking at. It's not so much about the horsepower of the iPad itself, but the problem that you're going to run into if you start just accumulating so much data with 3, 4, 5, 600 scan positions is the Matterport processing engine and its ability to process all that data. That's where you might run into problems. And then if it does get through that, and it should, but if it does get through that, or when it does get through that, it could start taking longer and longer. Models get processed for 24, even more hours. Then the question is, what's your use case and what computer is looking at it? And the reason why I say use case is because if it is a promote use case, you want everybody with all different types of computers and web browsers to be able to see and more easily navigate through the model. In this case, that's not it. It's not promote. So it's really just for a handful of people to look at it. And so they can be a lot more in control about what types of devices are, presenting the showcase and looking at it, and to kind of maintain that smoother navigation experience. Okay, this is the triangle building that you were referring to.
Yeah.
42 floors.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at this. This is very, very impressive building.
Yeah, also this building has the double staircase, as you can see here.
Yeah, you can see them one kind of next to the other. So this, you say, the best approach again, and this is very common for very tall structures. They're going to have more than one staircase. I mean, I think it's just a matter of building code. You would go in this case. It's not the same as the other building because the staircases, the entryway into the staircase is on the opposite side of the building.
Yeah.
So you would go up one staircase. I'm guessing you would scan the entire floor and then go back to the other staircase and go down. How did you approach this? This is an interesting building layout.
So let's say I start, you can see my mouse, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say I start here. I begin to scan all this lobby, go into the staircase, going up to the second floor, to the floor above. Once I reach the floor above, I open the new floor, as I said before. I go down without scanning to the lobby, continue scanning the lobby with its complexity of this triangle structure with this middle lobby. So I begin scanning the lobby to the other side of the staircase, complete the scanning of the entire lobby, and then going inside the second staircase, go up the second staircase to the floor above. Once I reach the floor above, I go on the floor. I completed this specific floor, and I go in the above floor. I go back to the staircase, to the first staircase, where I initially opened the second floor. If you recall, I opened here the second floor. Once I go up to the second floor, in the iPad, I opened a new floor here in this point. Mm-hmm. So once I completed the entire floor and the second staircase, in the second floor, I go back to my single floor on that, to my single scan location in that second floor. I hope it was understandable.
Okay.
I can illustrate it.
That's that's. I tried following that as. It's complicated. How long did it take you to figure something like that out? How many trial and errors did you have to go through?
Too many.
Too many.
Yeah.
Very good.
That's once in a lifetime building that we scanned. Without do such scanning again. It was too complicated for us.
Yeah.
Really. Also for us and also for the Matterport engine, it was a very complicated one.
Yeah, very good. But they are very impressive buildings and impressive scans for sure. Very good. So it looks like we are a little bit over time. Find these use cases really fascinating, and these models are just super impressive. So I love looking at them and getting to understand your process and how you go about scanning them. Unfortunately, we are out of time. We did not get to nearly as many questions. We have a lot of questions, so I really appreciate all of the people who attended and all the questions that came in.
Yeah, you can feel free to contact me directly on my email to ask all your questions you have.
Fantastic. Yes, I was gonna ask, if that's okay, if you want that that responsibility, but perfect. So I think Eldad mentioned in the chat the link to your website. I'll go ahead and post it right now. It's onsight.tech, TECH. And from that website, you can find the contact information to reach out to Amir as well as Eldad. And the questions that you may have, whether it's about how to tap into this industry, or maybe just some scanning tips and tricks that you can talk about, and so on. And this was great. Really, really appreciate it. I especially love to see the collaboration and hopefully that some kind of partnership can come of this as well. And very, very impressive models. Truly, really cool to look at.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Amir.
I really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much for your time today. And thank you very much for all the attendees. who participated and asked all the great questions. This is going to be on demand available, so we'll have this there, and you can come back to see if you joined us a little bit late. But so yeah, we're here speaking with Amir and Eldad from OnSight, and very exciting. Thank you again very much.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you very much.